Good morning, welcome back to the Old Shot. I promised you an in-depth look at the Canon A1, but I'm still running the film through it at the minute. So we're going to look at the second part of my buying second-hand cameras guide. This is where you're buying face to face. It could be at a car boot sale, it could be at a market, second-hand shop, charity shop, or you may be buying something that's been privately advertised and you've got to have a look at it. So what you're looking for when you look at a camera is the things that could have gone wrong with it. The main things to look at are the lens. Things that can go wrong with lenses are scratches if it hasn't been treated well. Over cleaning can sometimes take the coating off the front surface of the lens. There could be fungus inside the lens, which is more common than you might think, and also haze. Haze is like, if you can imagine condensation on the inside of a window that's dried and that leaves marks. That's what haze looks like, but it's tiny little stippled effect, and quite often it's invisible to the eye unless you use an aid, which we'll talk about in a second. So that's the lenses. The shutter, especially old leaf shutters, can be sticky. The speeds might be out, so you can't scientifically test the accuracy of the speeds, but we'll come to that in a second. The aperture blades on lenses, over time oil leaches out of various places and can end up on the aperture blades, causing them to be sticky, and it means that the camera could be struggling, especially an automatic camera, could be struggling to get the right f-stop during the process of taking a photograph. And number 4, on electronic cameras, anything that takes batteries, a major concern, and it's very common where cameras have been put away for years in cupboards and things like that. The batteries have been left in them. The batteries leak. What comes out of batteries is corrosive and affects, first of all, the contacts within the battery compartment, and if it's left for a long time it can actually leach into other parts of the camera, causing death by corrosion basically. So when I'm going shopping, deliberately shopping for cameras, second-hand cameras, I take 2 tools with me as a minimum. I take a torch and I take a 5p piece. Let's look at the torch first of all. We're looking at a totally manual camera, a mechanical camera. Bought this at the market in Blyth. On a sunny day you can actually hold the camera so that the sun is shining on the lens and you will see things like dust and what have you. But to see all the way through the lens, what you need to do is actually open up the camera, set your shutter to B, wind it on, press and hold the shutter release, shine the torch through the lens from various angles, hold the camera at various angles, and also, especially from the front, shine through the camera and through the lens. Again, different angles. be careful about shining a very bright torch directly into your eyes through the lens. Also, if you're out and about and you haven't got a torch, don't hold it up to the sun and look at the sun through the lens unless you're particularly keen on blindness. So the torch is useful. You can use the torch on your mobile phone as well, but that's your first check, to check the quality or the health of the lens. Shutter speeds, a lot of your checking of shutter speeds is going to be by sound, because we can't really, we've got no scientific equipment to check, so listen to it. So this is a 15th of a second, and it sounds pretty good to me. Go at the other end, 500th of a second. And again, open up the back of the camera and have a look. When you press the shutter will open and close again, and how long that actually happens for can be more apparent if you're actually looking through the lens when you do it on a mechanical camera. The aperture blades on an old camera like this, open up the back of the camera, put it on B, and just adjust the aperture ring and have a look. Is the hole the right sort of shape, but is it symmetrical? Just check that sort of thing. Do the same sort of checks on an electronic camera, a camera with electricals. Of course, with an SLR camera you can take the lens off, so it's easier to check it out. Your 5p piece. A lot of SLR cameras have got this type of battery cover on the bottom. The 5p piece just seems to be about the right thickness and the right sort of diameter to go in there and unloosen the cap without causing any damage. If you can't get it open for any reason, it could be corrosion, so be very cautious about that. So there's the battery compartment. Shine the torch in there, hold it so the sun's shining out if you haven't got a torch. The metal should look silver, should look metallic. There should be no traces of white or green powder or anything nasty in there. Same with the actual battery holder. I've got two batteries in here at the minute. If there's damage within the battery compartment, 9 times out of 10 I would walk away. If it was very minor, or if the camera was very desirable and I thought I could rescue it, I might consider it, but generally damaging the battery compartment from corrosion is just about terminal. So buying cameras face to face gives you a better chance than buying online to spot any problems. But you still have to be careful. With the later film cameras, like the little compact cameras and the autofocus SLR cameras, totally reliant on batteries, and when you see them at a market or on a car boot sale, and often in charity shops, there's either no battery in there or the battery's dead, so you can't check any of the mechanical functions of the camera. You can't, on the zoom compacts you cannot check the function of the zoom. You can't even open the the cover on the front of the camera to see the lens. That's why I would never pay very much at all for a zoom compact 35mm camera. It's just too much risk. The autofocus SLRs, you can still check the lenses and what have you, but unless you've got a battery with you or there's a working battery in the camera, you can't check any of the mechanical functions. So just be wary, and hopefully you'll end up buying a decent camera that you can take photographs with. Buying face to face, I've only, I think, had one failure where the camera had a leaking battery, and I bought it because it had two lenses that I wanted. The camera body ended up going in the bin because it was beyond salvage. But there are bargains to be had out there. Not as many as there used to, because film photography has become popular. But happy hunting. Hope you find good stuff like this. This one, my Kodak Retinet 1B, was to say I bought it at the market, and everything's working perfectly. I've cleaned the lens a couple of times, but that's just normal maintenance. Nothing else have I had to do to this camera. The Kodak factory in Germany, which had previously been Nargos, but was bought out by Kodak, produced really good cameras. Anyway, that's it for this time. The cat really wants to take over here. We'll see you again soon. The Canon A1 in-depth look. I've got about 10 photos to take on the film. Once I've done that and developed the film, we'll have that video out. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.